Let's talk about the power of batching the same tasks together. So when you think about it, every time you start performing certain activity, you have certain startup costs, right? The setup cost of opening that email, or perhaps preparing the documents you have to deal with, or maybe, I don't know, you're doing social media management and you have to prep everything. And also you need some time to get into the right state. It's not like you decide that you will write an article and then bam, straight away, minute one, you're writing poetry, right? No, it doesn't work like that. You got to get into the state. It takes some time, it takes some effort. So, when you are trying to multitask, when you're trying to do task A and then task B and then go back to task A and then do something else, then you keep incurring those setup costs, right? And you keep switching attention and you get something called attention fatigue. It's very hard to focus on different things at the same time. In fact, I would say that it's not possible to fully focus on a few things at the same time. And if you don't believe in it, then let me ask you, if you needed to have a surgery and you saw your surgeon and he has all the diplomas, but he's trying to perform the surgery looking at his phone, and he tells you, oh, don't worry about it, I'm amazing at multitasking. Would you believe him? Probably not, right? I think I got it from, I read it in Gary Keller's book, I think, one thing. I actually don't remember. I think that was the one, but it's a pretty interesting example. You would definitely say, please, you're doing an operation on my body, fully focus on what you are doing. So why do we assume that we can multitask, that we can manage a bunch of things at the same time? Doesn't make any sense, right? Anyway, let's go back to batching. I feel like batching is important because you're using the power of getting into the flow while minimizing those setup costs, right? So let me give you a real life example. I'm doing a lot of different calls. And instead of just doing a few calls per day, one call in the morning, one in the afternoon, one in the evening, I like to batch all of my calls. The reason is that before every call, I need to get myself into the right state for that call. If I want to close a big deal, then I want to make sure that I'm in my winner state. And it's hard to be in your winner state all the time because you require different states for different tasks. When I'm writing, I'm more in this introspective state, right? I'm kind of deep in my thoughts, but that state wouldn't be useful for a high-paced business call. So I like to put those calls together because this way, when I get on the first call, I get warmed up. So I usually schedule the least important call as the first one. I get on that call, getting warmed up, getting myself into the talkative state. Then I do the second one, and then usually the third or the fourth call are the most important ones. These are the calls when I know I'm going to be closing a deal, I'm going to be negotiating something, because I know that the moment I get to those calls, I'm so warmed up, I know exactly how to handle myself, I am in the flow. For example, when I film those videos, right, I could simply come into the studio every single day for 1 hour, but when you really think about it, I would probably film just one video per day because I got to get into the studio. And by the way, I travel all the time, so it's pretty tough to, find studios everywhere. But there are setup costs. I have to set up the cameras. We need to make sure everything works well. After the first video, I always like to, take that card and double check everything on the laptop just to make sure that everything is fine. And then, of course, I got to get myself into the right state. So 1 hour, could probably do one video after all of the setup. But on the other hand, what I do instead is I travel to places like Prague. I have a movie crew here, and we meet up here with Rick, and we film for 2-3 days in a row. We come in the morning, we hit the gym, then we eat some nice vegetarian food. We start banging out videos, then we take a break, we chit chat, we share some cool stories, we film some more. And this way, within a few days, we can literally bang out 40, 50, 60 different videos. So then when I travel all over the world for the next 1.5 months, I don't need to think about it because all the content has been produced and I can focus on other things in my business. Same thing happens when I go to Bali. I have a crew in Bali, I have a crew in Poland. So whenever I go to those places, I get right into filming and I batch all of my video material. It's also better for people I work with, for my business partners. I mean, for Rick, it's much easier and better to film everything in one go. And then as he is editing, he can get himself into the flow state. And, when I talk to him and to other people I work with, I know that when you are editing, as you keep editing, you really develop this eye for the smallest details. But it doesn't work the same when you just have to sit every day to edit one video at a time, right? Anyway, one example, but it makes sense, I'm sure, right? So think about the situations in your life where, you are taking a task that you could batch into, for example, half a day, and instead you are performing that task every single day, and how much time and energy and attention you are losing, and ask yourself, how could I batch it together so I make the most of that flow state and so I decrease all those setup costs? All right, just think about it. Let me know if you have any aha moments, and I'm gonna see you in the next video.